Ever notice how some women just can't stop thinking about certain men? How they text first, check in, and even plan their day around them? It's not luck, it's psychology. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to make her chase you like her life depends on it, without begging, without games, and without losing your dignity. By the end of this video, she won't just like you, she'll need you. Step 1. The power of emotional unavailability. Emotional unavailability is one of the most misunderstood and underestimated tools in attraction. It's not about being cold, rude, or detached. It's about creating an aura of independence and self-control that draws her in without effort. Women are naturally drawn to men who don't bend over backward for validation because it signals confidence, self-respect, and inner strength. When you are emotionally unavailable in the right way, you're essentially communicating that your life is full and meaningful on its own and that your attention is valuable. This instantly shifts the dynamic. Instead of chasing her, you create a situation where she begins to chase you, craving the energy and presence that you uniquely offer. Emotional unavailability is not about ignoring her entirely. It's about being selective with your energy, responding intentionally rather than reactively, and never allowing your desire to overshadow your self-worth. When a man becomes emotionally unavailable, he introduces scarcity into the relationship. Scarcity isn't about manipulation, it's a natural psychological trigger. When someone cannot be constantly accessed, the brain begins to assign higher value to their presence. Women are wired to notice and pursue what they can't easily obtain, and emotional unavailability creates that balance without having to resort to games. It forces her to focus on the moments you do share, and in those moments, your impact becomes magnified. Your energy, your attention, and your engagement are no longer taken for granted. They are seen as precious, limited, and worth pursuing. This creates a magnetic pull, an unconscious desire to be noticed, to be appreciated, and to be the one who earns your attention and validation. The key is maintaining emotional unavailability while remaining calm and composed. It's not about arrogance or cruelty, it's about controlling your own emotional state and not being dependent on her reactions for your happiness. When you respond only when you feel like it, when you interact from a place of choice rather than need, she senses a subtle power in your energy. You become the man who is in demand, the one who has options, and the one who prioritizes his own life first. This alone changes the entire dynamic, making her invest more, think more, and ultimately chase more. Emotional unavailability is a statement, a demonstration of value that words cannot convey. It also teaches her to respect your boundaries without you having to force it. Many women are accustomed to men who compromise their own standards to stay in a relationship. By being emotionally unavailable in a controlled and confident way, you communicate that your time, attention, and feelings are not for grabs. She begins to realize that if she wants to be a part of your world, she must match your level of effort, investment, and energy. This subtle shift makes her approach you with more intent, more curiosity, and more desire than ever before because she understands that your validation is earned, not given freely, and that chasing you is the only way to experience the connection she craves. Step 2. Confidence over everything. Confidence is the single most magnetic quality a man can possess, and it goes far beyond physical appearance or material success. True confidence is rooted in self-assurance, self-respect, and a clear understanding of your own value. When a man walks into a room with calm certainty, carries himself without hesitation, and interacts without seeking approval, he radiates an energy that is impossible to ignore. Women are instinctively drawn to this energy because it signals stability, reliability, and the ability to lead. Confidence is not about dominating conversations or being the loudest voice in the room. It's about presence, the quiet power of knowing who you are, what you want, and that your happiness is not dependent on anyone else. A confident man doesn't need to chase, plead, or explain himself, and that independence becomes intoxicating to women. One of the most critical aspects of confidence is consistency. Confidence that wavers depending on circumstances or the reactions of others is weak and transparent. A man who remains steady in his demeanor, unshaken by rejection or temporary setbacks, exudes a quiet dominance that draws women in. They sense that his life has direction and purpose, and they naturally want to be a part of it. Confidence also shows itself in decision-making. A man who takes initiative, makes choices, and stands by them demonstrates control over his life. Women are drawn to men who are leaders in their own lives because they represent safety, security, and the potential for an exciting, ambitious partnership. The more decisive and self-assured you are, the more she feels compelled to respect and chase your attention. Another layer of confidence lies in self-acceptance. A confident man is fully aware of his strengths and weaknesses, yet he does not allow them to dictate his worth or behavior. He embraces his individuality without apology, which challenges women to appreciate and pursue him authentically. This form of confidence communicates that he is not needy, insecure, or desperate for validation, making him more desirable than someone constantly seeking approval. Emotional control is an extension of this confidence. By regulating your emotions, remaining calm in tense situations, and choosing your responses thoughtfully, you show strength and reliability. Women instinctively recognize that this stability comes from self-confidence, and they are drawn to it because it signals that the man is capable of handling life's challenges without losing composure. Confidence also creates a natural aura of attraction because it establishes clear boundaries. A confident man does not bend to fit others' expectations or compromise his standards for attention or approval. He lives by his principles and communicates value through actions rather than words. This combination of self-assurance, emotional control, and purposeful living makes women perceive him as a prize, someone worth pursuing and earning. Confidence transforms not only how women see you, but how you carry yourself in every interaction, every glance, and every conversation, creating a magnetic pull that is impossible to ignore. Step 3. The art of mystery. The art of mystery is one of the most powerful tools a man can use to create desire and intrigue in a woman. Mystery is not about hiding your life or being deceitful. It's about being selective with the information you reveal and maintaining an air of unpredictability that keeps her mind constantly curious. When a man shares too much too soon, the sense of intrigue disappears, and with it, the natural desire to chase. A mysterious man, on the other hand, makes a woman work subtly for the pieces of his life she wants to understand. This is not manipulation. It is simply about holding a standard where your energy, time, and presence are valued. When she can't fully read you or predict your next move, her subconscious mind begins to invest more of her thoughts and emotions into figuring you out. And that investment is what creates an intense pull toward you. Mystery also lies in pacing your life and your story. Don't reveal your ambitions, past relationships, or inner thoughts all at once. Allow her to discover these things gradually, so every interaction leaves her wanting more. When she starts to notice that you have layers she hasn't uncovered yet, curiosity builds into emotional and mental attachment. It's the unanswered questions, the glimpses into your life without full exposure, that make her mind replay moments with you over and over. A man who cultivates mystery also exudes independence. He has his own passions, routines, and priorities, and he doesn't feel compelled to share every detail to gain approval. This independence reinforces the allure because she sees that your life is full and meaningful, and she naturally wants to be a part of it rather than the center of it. Another dimension of mystery is controlled communication. Responding in a measured way, not oversharing, and engaging her selectively creates a rhythm where she begins to anticipate and value your presence. Every interaction becomes a moment of curiosity, a chance for her to learn something new or experience a side of you that wasn't visible before. By keeping your emotions, thoughts, and actions slightly unpredictable but always composed, you prevent her from taking your attention for granted. Mystery also works in social contexts. How you move, how you speak, and how you interact with others should reflect confidence, independence, and selective openness. A man who is comfortable being partially unreadable without creating tension or distant signals that he is complex, valuable, and worth the chase. Mystery is ultimately about creating mental and emotional space that encourages pursuit rather than possession. A woman who senses there are layers to uncover will naturally become more engaged, attentive, and invested because she knows that understanding you fully is a reward, not a given. By embodying this principle, you shift the dynamic from one of accessibility to one of pursuit. Step 4. Value and standards. Value and standards are the cornerstone of attraction because they communicate to a woman that you respect yourself and expect the same respect in return. This is not about arrogance or placing conditions on affection for the sake of games. It's about embodying self-worth in every action, word, and decision. A man who knows his value does not settle for mediocrity in relationships, and this awareness naturally sets him apart from those who compromise themselves to gain attention. Women are drawn to men who demonstrate that their time, energy, and presence are not cheap commodities. When you operate from a place of clear standards, she sees that to be with you, she must match your effort, your respect, and your intentions, which transforms the dynamic from passive interaction to active pursuit. Maintaining high standards begins with understanding what you will and will not tolerate. This goes beyond superficial qualities and extends into how she treats you, how she engages with your life, and how she respects your boundaries. A man with strong standards does not accept disrespect, manipulation, or inconsistency, and he communicates this through consistent action rather than repeated explanations. By living by your principles and refusing to compromise your integrity for temporary comfort, you demonstrate that you are a prize to be earned, not someone to be taken for granted. This subtle yet powerful approach forces her to evaluate her own behavior and encourages her to invest in ways she might not have previously considered. When she realizes that your approval is not automatic, desire grows because pursuit becomes meaningful rather than effortless. Value is reinforced through self-sufficiency and purpose. A man who is constantly working on himself, pursuing ambitions, and living a life that excites him naturally attracts attention without having to ask for it. Women are drawn to energy that is directed, intentional, and fulfilled. When she sees that your life is rich with purpose and that your presence is impactful, it elevates your perceived value. The combination of high standards, self-respect, and a fulfilled life creates a magnetic force that encourages her to step up and engage on a higher level. She becomes more attentive, more intentional, and more willing to meet the expectations you set because she senses that being in your orbit is a reward. Your value also communicates that you are not needy or desperate. By demonstrating that your happiness and self-worth are independent of her attention, you create an environment where she must compete for your time and affection. This isn't manipulation, it's simply living authentically while setting a standard for the kind of connection you will accept. Women naturally gravitate toward men who respect themselves because it signals security, stability, and the potential for a meaningful partnership. Step 5. Strategic absence and attention. Strategic absence and attention is one of the most powerful yet often overlooked tools in creating attraction and desire. It's about understanding that your energy, time, and focus are valuable, and that by controlling when and how you give them, you naturally increase your perceived worth. Many men make the mistake of being constantly available, responding immediately to messages, or giving attention without thought, believing it will create connection. The truth is, over-availability diminishes your value because it communicates that your time and presence are easily obtained. By contrast, when you practice strategic absence, you create a sense of scarcity that triggers her natural pursuit instincts. This doesn't mean ignoring her completely or being intentionally cruel. It's about selectively engaging, responding when it serves you, and making her invest effort to capture your attention. The power of strategic absence lies in its subtlety. You want her to feel your presence even when you're not around, to think about you in your absence, and to miss the energy you bring. This is achieved through deliberate pacing, sometimes responding slower, sometimes engaging fully and energetically, and sometimes stepping back to focus on your own priorities. When she notices that your attention is not a given, she begins to value it more. Every conversation, every interaction, every glance becomes meaningful because it is experienced as a choice rather than an expectation. She starts to pay closer attention to your actions, your words, and your energy, recognizing that your engagement is a reward and not a guarantee. This shift transforms the dynamic, putting her in the position of wanting to earn your focus rather than taking it for granted. Strategic attention also means amplifying your impact when you are present. By being fully engaged in the moments you do interact, you make each encounter memorable. Humor, challenge, deep conversation, excitement, and emotional connection are all tools that magnify the value of your attention. The more she associates your presence with positive energy and emotional fulfillment, the more she craves it. The combination of selective absence and focused attention creates a push-pull dynamic that keeps her emotionally invested, thinking about you even when you're not there. Another critical aspect is consistency in the approach. While absence creates desire, erratic or unpredictable behavior can create frustration rather than attraction. The key is to be intentional, maintaining a rhythm that is comfortable for you but subtly triggers her pursuit. By balancing strategic absence with high value attention, you demonstrate control, self respect, and high standards, making her desire your presence more intensely because she understands that she must actively earn it. Step 6: Emotional impact. Emotional impact is the invisible force that transforms attraction into obsession. It's not about grand gestures or superficial charm. It's about creating moments and experiences that resonate deeply with her, leaving a lasting imprint on her mind and heart. A man who understands emotional impact knows that the way a woman feels around him will dictate her desire, attention, and loyalty. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to make her feel something memorable, whether it's excitement, intrigue, happiness, or even a healthy challenge. When a woman associates you with strong positive emotions, she begins to crave your presence and attention. Her brain links the energy she feels around you with fulfillment, and this connection becomes addictive because it goes beyond physical attraction, touching on the emotional and psychological levels where genuine attachment forms. Creating emotional impact starts with being fully present. Too many men drift through interactions, distracted or focused on themselves, which makes encounters forgettable. When you are emotionally engaged, expressive in subtle ways, and attuned to her energy, she feels seen, understood, and valued. This kind of presence communicates that she is important without needing to be told, and it fosters a deep sense of connection that she will subconsciously want to experience repeatedly. Emotional impact is also about challenge and contrast. A man who can make her laugh, inspire curiosity, provoke thought, or even gently push her boundaries creates intensity in the interaction. Moments of unpredictability or playful tension stir the mind and heart, leaving her replaying these experiences and thinking about you even when you're not around. Another element of emotional impact is shared adventure and excitement. Experiences that elicit adrenaline, laughter, or genuine joy amplify the connection between you. Whether it's a spontaneous outing, a deep conversation that touches her beliefs, or a unique experience that surprises her, these moments stick in her memory far more than ordinary routines. Emotional impact is heightened by authenticity. A man who is unapologetically himself, vulnerable when appropriate, and confidently expressive without being needy, creates a magnetic energy that women are drawn to. They sense depth, reliability, and intrigue simultaneously. And this combination triggers a strong desire to seek more of the same emotional intensity. Emotional impact also reinforces your value and standards. By controlling the emotional tone of your interactions, you subtly guide the relationship dynamic, creating an environment where she experiences excitement, validation, and challenge while respecting your boundaries. Women become invested not only in the moments they share with you, but in the anticipation of feeling that energy again. The stronger and more consistent the emotional resonance you create, the more she will pursue your attention, thinking of you long after the encounter has ended. Remember, attraction isn't about chasing, begging, or trying to be someone you're not. It's about embodying value, confidence, and presence in every interaction. When you master emotional control, maintain your standards, and create impact in her life, you naturally become the man she can't stop thinking about. This isn't about manipulation, it's about becoming the best version of yourself, the kind of man who inspires desire simply by being who he is. Take these principles, practice them consistently, and watch how your presence transforms every